you think it's weird that we're welcoming Khadgar back from the Void Realm like nothing happened, even though just 2 weeks ago Xal'atath possessed a mage and then used him to literally destroy Dalaran? I know Khadgar told us he turned into arcane magic, but if he really was possessed, it's not like he would tell us, yeah, it's me, Xal'atath. Some might say he was resurrected by Anduin's new light, so that just destroys all doubts, but keep in mind, his light returned in this weird underground connection to Beledar that is literally like half light, half void, and Xal'atath is definitely doing something with the crystal. There's no doubt that the light overall is just a weird thing in Kazakar, and that it might not be too different from the void. So what is going on, and has Khadgar really returned, or could he actually be possessed? If you want to get Dragonflight or anything else Warcraft related, Gamigo has some excellent deals that you can check out with my link below. Best of all, you can get software, gift cards, a bunch of games at below market prices. On top of that, you can also use my code DORON to get yet another discount, so make sure to check out my link below and grab some amazing deals at Gamigo. So, Xal'atath is definitely a different kind of villain, and as Chris Metzen told us, she is here to stay. Not to be a final boss, but she'll probably be present throughout all 3 of the expansions, and she isn't even a villain herself. I mean, she's literally the harbinger of the Void Lords, almost certainly the Mencius the Old Devouring in particular, that has been linked to her based on a few quest descriptions and item sources. Now check this out, Xal'atath is, as far as we currently know, older than the Old Gods, and very likely a cosmological being that goes beyond Azeroth. She wasn't just spawned on Azeroth, and it is possible that she participated in destruction of multiple planets by this point with the help of the Void. This is what she meant when she told Illyria that she survived the fall of countless empires and things she can't even begin to imagine. What we know for certain, based on item description text, is that she is at least as old as the Black Empire, because we know she got a weapon of Void Song from Dimensius the Old Devouring, while the Black Empire was still active on Azeroth. Something definitely happened, but she has literally survived in various forms throughout about 100,000 years of Azeroth's history. She has seen everything from the Titans first arriving, to the fall of Galakrond, to the Legion invasions, and for a while, we literally had her in our blade. No villain ever had such insight into our actions. As she said, she studied us as we defeated gods and godlike armies, and she studied our rage and fury and learned how to use it against us. This is essentially the main reason why she has been outmaneuvering us, and I mean completely outmaneuvering us this entire time. She knows how we work, has thousands of years of experience, and therefore she has tricked us. Of course, Xal'atath wasn't planning to raise an Nerubian army to conquer the world. I mean, that is really just ridiculous. She knows we defeated the Legion, so she decided to just distract us and fill her artifact, the Dark Heart, that we know absorbs energies and becomes more and more powerful. You can see how she literally destroyed Khadgar with one single spell, and keep in mind, Khadgar is one of the most powerful mortals ever on Azeroth. Now, I know people are a bit opposed to the Mastermind 200 IQ villains due to the Jailer. However, Xal'atath is different. I mean, she has actually been built up for ages. However, the real question is, if Xal'atath is this void, like true void mastermind, was she really that shocked that Illyria would aim an arrow at her artifact, even with like a 3-second warning? I mean, she did of course in the cinematics seem genuinely surprised and enraged, and then Khadgar suddenly broke free, but could all of this have been yet another ploy? I mean, just think about it. Xal'atath has been unleashing a ploy after ploy on us all the time, and suddenly we figured her out. I mean, let's just aim for her little circle that she's building. It just seems way too simple for a villain like this. Well, I feel like there is more at stake here, and that we shouldn't take things at face value just yet. Think about how War Within started. A guy called Drenden returned. For people that have been following the lore for a while, you might remember him as a decently important character, but for most people this was just a random guy. He returned after he was missing for years, and suddenly everyone just accepted him with open arms. Honestly, Xal'atath made him incredibly believable, and if we didn't date mine the info before the actual expansion release, we have totally not seen it coming. Now, after Dalaran was destroyed, we don't really know what actually happened. She defeated Khadgar, Khadgar teleported Illyria away, then Dalaran was potentially destroyed. Once again, we don't really know, as Dalaran was engulfed by this giant void circle, and honestly, it seemed like a teleportation spell. Parts were definitely destroyed, but I also think it is entirely plausible that the core of the city was transported somewhere into the Void Realm for later use, and that this could be later raid content. However, the other possibility right now is that she used the circle to drain all the magical energy from Dalaran and she just turned everything into rubble. Now, based on the dialogue that you can actually find after Khadgar breaks free when the artifact is damaged, he says he knew what she was doing and that the Dark Heart absorbs arcane, so he turned himself into arcane energy, which is how he managed to save himself. He barely broke free, from what we know he died, and then Anduin suddenly got this huge light inspiration and resurrected him, and now Khadgar is back like nothing happened. Am I the only one that feels like this story is just incredibly murky? It seems way too simple. Literally 2 weeks ago, Xal'atath completely fooled us by possessing the body of a mage, and she orchestrated the entire destruction of the city. Now, as far as we know, she could have taken Khadgar directly into the Void Realm for these few weeks, but he breaks free and we just accept him like with open arms, like nothing ever really happened. As I said, I feel like it is way out of character for Xal'atath to do something like this based on her previous actions. Furthermore, how does this even make sense? I mean, did Khadgar just implant himself into the Dark Heart and Xal'atath couldn't figure that one out? I think it's really weird. If she destroyed Dalaran by absorbing all the arcane and Khadgar just joined in with this whatever arcane bundle it is, it would make some sense. But I feel like Xal'atath, as this ancient being, would have known he was present as a live, sentient being in arcane form inside the artifact that she's literally holding in her hand. Also, as I said previously, I think it's really weird that Xal'atath couldn't have in any possible scenario seen that we could just, aim at her artifact, the Dark Heart, and that if it was really so vulnerable, she wouldn't have just wielded it as openly as she did. All the previous actions showed us that she has us figured out and knows what she's doing, so this is totally out of character for a villain like this. Now, some people would say that even if this is of course a little bit murky, there is no doubt that this is real Khadgar because Anduin has resurrected him. Technically, he barely held on and died as soon as he got out, but the light brought him back. Xal'atath couldn't have predicted that Anduin would get the light back, so if he resurrected him, then that must be it. Well, first of all, light is incredibly weird within Khazlagar and this entire weird zone that we're in right now. If you've been playing through the campaign, you must have seen multiple attempts for Anduin to get his power back, and he had various conversations with Yarathi humans that are technically light wielders, but they're also using a different form of light called the Sacred Flame, and they're also based around this still very mysterious gigantic light crystal called Beledar. Crystal that could potentially be filled with old god blood that is constantly shifting into the void. Based on all the accounts, other than the old god blood, Beledar is really the main reason why Xal'atath even came into this place. So honestly, with the weird light void shifting that is happening with Beledar, who even knows how pure this light is or how authentic this resurrection of Khadgar really was? Now, don't get me wrong, it is entirely possible that this is the legit Khadgar and Blizzard just decided to make Xal'atath really stupid for a single moment, but at the same time it is entirely possible that more could be happening behind the scenes that we are not seeing. Almost certainly, Xal'atath is not possessing him personally because we know we have seen her after this happened, but seeing that he was within her little weird void artifact and potentially even inside the void realm, it is entirely possible that she could have implanted something inside his mind, or maybe even created a copy that could be used to further manipulate us, like this could be an avatar. It totally would be possible, seeing that she pretty much did the exact same thing just a little bit back with another member of the Council of Six. At the same time, I've already made a video saying that Khadgar is alive prior to the cinematic being released, but I also think it is really weird that he returned so quickly. I was expecting it would happen in 11.1 or 11.2 or possibly even in Midnight, but he returned in an express manner, which makes this entire matter even more suspicious. So if we start winning and then suddenly Khadgar starts acting really weird, well, don't be entirely surprised. Thank you for watching. Check out what the roadmap for War Within is going to be like by clicking on the screen, and check out my video on Perun and Slavic mythology by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.